fact that we had information that she drove her brother to the scene. Once we confronted Tanisha about the fact we knew that she had driven D'Angelo to the scene, she started to admit to what she knew about that evening. When we talked to her about Marcus Nichols O'Neal, she said that they had dropped him off earlier in the night and that he was not involved, and that the only people in that vehicle were her, D'Angelo, and Trevor. She was very clear.
Pencil.
Homicide detectives in Kalamazoo, Michigan, are questioning Tanisha Taylor McMillan about the shooting deaths of Floyd Brashers Jr. and Katoya McPherson. Tanisha tells them that confessed accomplice Marcus Nichols O'Neal wasn't even there. Instead, it was her, D'Angelo, and their younger relative, Trevor.
She admits to driving D'Angelo Davis and Trevor Moore to an apartment complex near the victim's home.
Now, she was saying that she did not know at this point what they were planning on doing other than going over there. She did not say she saw a weapon or a firearm. She said that they took a bat that she keeps in her vehicle for personal protection.
According to Tanisha, Trevor and D'Angelo got out of the car and headed down the path toward Floyd's apartment.
It wasn't very long from how long it took from when they left the vehicle to when they came back. I think it was just a matter of minutes.
And she says when they got back that Mr. Davis made statements about emptying a clip. Davis immediately told her to get out of there. She believed that they were going there to get the car back and only found out that the two had been killed after the fact.
So when they asked Tanisha who does she think pulled the trigger, she stated D'Angelo because he had the temperament, the energy, and the excitement, and he had a motive to do it. According to Tanisha, the real motive for the killing was D'Angelo was upset and wanted payback.
Tanisha is arrested and charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder. Meanwhile, Marcus is released.
Marcus had a brief conversation with the officers, and they asked about his false claim of being there. And he said, you know what? I have no idea why. Sometimes my brain gives me false conclusions.
Through statements given to him by Trevor and D'Angelo, for some reason, put himself at the scene in Trevor's shoes. And that is why he had so many incorrect statements about the facts in the case.
But D'Angelo remains free.
Subsequent contacts with D'Angelo Davis occurred following the arrest of Tanisha, his sister. During these contacts, D'Angelo didn't openly admit to his involvement in the crime. However, he showed a great deal of concern and remorse that his sister had been caught up in the investigation. That seemed to be his singular focus.
On March 29, 2021, D'Angelo reaches out, wanting to take some of the heat off his sister, Tanisha.
D'Angelo stated that he came forward because his sister thought he abandoned her, and he wanted to show her that he would never do that. He told the detectives that he did it all. He had the bat, he broke into the window, he was the shooter. He did the entire thing himself.
He then changed that statement, and he told him next that Trevor had the baseball bat, but that he was the person who shot Floyd Brashers Jr. and Katoya McPherson.
Detectives were able to tell D'Angelo was lying. On the surveillance footage, it was shown that the taller of the two men were the one that actually broke the window and went in first. And as they compare the heights of the two individuals.
Are you ready to launch a podcast that actually grows your business? Most people start a podcast and stop with.
D'Angelo was taller, so obviously he is the one that went in first.
So when confronted, D'Angelo Davis then changes his story, and he indicates that he had the baseball bat and that he's the one who broke out the slider. That when they entered, Trevor had the gun, and Trevor was the one who shot and killed both Katoya McPherson and Floyd Brashers.
D'Angelo hit Floyd in the legs so he could not get up. D'Angelo said Trevor shot Katoya first, then Floyd. He brought the bat back to his aunt's house and discarded it near a basketball court. Trevor sold the gun a few days later after the murders.
According to D'Angelo, the murders were about respect.
D'Angelo felt very disrespected by what happened to the vehicle. He thought they were doing him wrong, so he wanted to do them wrong.
D'Angelo Davis is charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder. 2 weeks later, Trevor Moore is found.
On April 19, 2021, I was notified that Trevor had been located in a nearby county and had been taken into custody on an unrelated incident.
When Trevor was asked did he do the murder for the family ties, he said, "The family ties ain't that strong." Then he concluded the interview.
He is charged with 2 counts of felony murder. One is for Katoya McPherson, and the other is for Floyd Brashers.
As the trials near, prosecutors approach Tanisha.
Ultimately, we made an offer to her that if she pled guilty to being an accessory after the fact to murder, that the other charges would be dismissed. The other part of the plea agreement is that she agreed as part of the agreement to testify truthfully in cases involving the death of the 2 decedents and D'Angelo Davis and Trevor.
But then D'Angelo's attorney reaches out. He also wants a deal.
D'Angelo was offered a plea deal of second-degree murder if he would have testified against Trevor Moore.
D'Angelo took the deal. However, that deal was dependent on him testifying during the trial.
In March 2022, Trevor Moore goes on trial for the 2020 shooting deaths of Floyd Brashers Jr. and Katoya McPherson.
At the time these murders happened, he was 17, and he ended up being tried as an adult. He was 18 during the time of the trial.
2 of his close relatives, D'Angelo Davis and Tanisha Taylor McMillan, have taken deals in exchange for their promise to testify against him. But at the start of the trial, D'Angelo has a change of heart.
I show up to trial the second day of trial, and that's when I'm informed by his attorney that he's going to assert his right to remain silent.
And that kind of disrupted the prosecutor's flow and theory of the trial, because they had talked a lot about what D'Angelo Davis was going to say during the trial.
D'Angelo's refusal to testify caused a mistrial in Trevor's case in March of 2022.
Having refused to testify against Trevor, in June of 2022, D'Angelo Davis must now go on trial himself.
When we went into that trial, his confession to the police was the cornerstone of the case.
Even though D'Angelo said Trevor was the triggerman, the prosecution paints him as the mastermind and the man with the motive.
Part of the argument that I made to the jury is under Michigan law, there is aiding and abetting in a case. So I believe the evidence showed that D'Angelo Davis aided and abetted in the homicide.
The police officers testifying about the incident that happened the day before, D'Angelo being very upset, being forced off the property by the police. This was his deal. This was his problem he had with these people. This is something that started because of him.
He's the one that directed where the trio went that day. So he was, I believe, the driving force behind each of the 2 murders. There was a very strong sense of family between the 3 of them. So when one called for help, the others came. And I think that that was a dynamic at play on the 28th of December, 2020, that D'Angelo called first Tanisha for help and then Trevor for help, and that no small part based on that family dynamic, they came to assist him.
D'Angelo got found guilty of first-degree murder, got sentenced to life in prison.
That September, Trevor goes on trial again. The defense has the advantage.
Tanisha did testify about the murders, and she did implicate both D'Angelo and Trevor.
But it isn't enough.
The jury found the defense's argument to be compelling and found Trevor not guilty. Trevor Moore was fully acquitted of killing Katoy and Floyd.
Tanisha was charged and pled to an accessory charge and spent 1 year in jail. She has since been released.
My reaction was, you gotta be me. I can't believe this just happened right in front of my eyes.
I want people to remember that Floyd was a happy person. He was a good-hearted person. He was, he believed in God. He wasn't perfect, because none of us are. But he was a good person. He really was. And he didn't deserve that at all.
You couldn't walk into our house without not speaking